8 out of 10 leaf blowers sitting on that Home Depot shelf right now are designed to be thrown away. Not because they stop working immediately, because they stop working right after the warranty expires and the manufacturer built them that way on purpose. The number that sold you that blower was CFM. Cubic feet per minute. It is printed on every box in a font larger than the brand name. 600 CFM. 765 CFM. Some of them are pushing 900, and almost none of those numbers mean what you think they mean. Here is the mechanical truth. CFM measures volume of air leaving the nozzle. It tells you nothing about how fast that air is moving. Nothing about whether it can lift wet leaves off pavement. Nothing about whether the plastic fan spinning inside that housing will still be intact by your third fall season. Today, we are going to show you exactly what that CFM number hides, why the impeller inside your blower is the first thing that dies, and what to buy instead if you want something that lasts longer than a lease agreement. Let us start with the number itself, because this is where the scam begins. Every box on that shelf leads with CFM. The manufacturers know that bigger numbers move more units, so they optimize for the number, not the machine. Here's what that means in practice. CFM and MPH are two completely different measurements. CFM tells you how much air the blower moves, MPH tells you how fast it moves. You need both to actually clear debris. A blower pushing 600 CFM at 60 miles per hour is nearly useless on wet leaves. A blower pushing 400 CFM at 130 miles per hour will clean a driveway in a fraction of the time. The industry benchmark that actually means something is this. You need at least 110 miles per hour of airspeed combined with at least 300 CFM for basic lawn cleanup. For wet leaves, gutters, and anything heavy, you want over 150 miles per hour and over 650 CFM. Both numbers together, not one or the other. Here is where the lie gets worse. There is no consistently enforced standardized measurement methodology. One manufacturer measures CFM at the end of the blower tube. Another measures it at the motor outlet before the tube narrows. That gap inflates advertised numbers and makes comparison between brands nearly impossible. The Ego Power Plus LB 7654 advertises 765 CFM. In regular use, not turbo mode, just normal operation, it delivers somewhere between 260 and 580 CFM depending on the speed setting. That is the same output as blowers that cost $100 less. Now look at the MPH numbers. Independent testing of the Atlas cordless blower showed 150 miles per hour advertised, with real-world performance falling well short of that figure. The DeWalt 20-volt Max XR, 125 advertised, 102.5 miles per hour actual. The Milwaukee M18 Fuel, 120 advertised, 99.4 actual. Nearly every major brand tested well below what the box claimed, so the number you used to choose that blower was wrong. Both directions. The CFM was measured at the most favorable point in the airflow. The MPH was measured under conditions that do not exist in your driveway. That is not an accident. That is the product. But inflated specs are only half the problem. The bigger failure is inside the housing. And this is the one that costs you money. Inside every consumer blower is a centrifugal impeller, the fan that actually accelerates the air. On pre-2005 gas blowers, that impeller was metal or heavy nylon. It was rated for 500 to 1,000 hours of operation. It was bolted in place and user replaceable. You could pull the housing, swap the impeller for $40 to $80, and keep running. Starting around 2010, manufacturers moved to injection molded plastic impellers, glass-filled nylon or ABS. The change reduced per unit material cost significantly, and it introduced a failure mechanism that conveniently triggers just after the warranty window closes. Here's what happens. The plastic impeller runs at high RPM in a hot environment. Every time the motor cycles on and off, the plastic expands and contracts. That is called thermal cycling. After 1 to 3 seasons of that stress, the blades develop micro cracks. You will hear the change before you see it. An increasing whine, a slightly higher pitch than normal. Then the throw distance drops. The blower still runs, but it is pushing less air with every use. Eventually a blade cracks clean through, contacts the volute housing, and the unit seizes. Go to the parts diagram for any Ryobi or any TTI manufactured blower at Home Depot. Look for the impeller listing. In most cases, you will find one of two things. Either the impeller is not listed as a separate serviceable part, or it is listed but back-ordered indefinitely. The manufacturer's answer to an $80 impeller failure is a $200 new unit. That is the business model. This is not limited to impellers. The housing assembly uses self-tapping screws and plastic clips to secure the volute. The housing that surrounds the impeller. Vibration loosens those fasteners. When the volute shifts even a few millimeters, the impeller contacts the housing wall. That contact accelerates blade failure and can transfer stress to the motor shaft. On cordless units, the battery management system is the second failure point. Lithium packs in consumer blowers are typically non-user replaceable and carry no standardized capacity warranty. After a few years, the BMS degrades and capacity drops noticeably. The battery still charges. It just does not hold enough energy to run the blower at rated performance. The blower becomes a 10-minute tool. You cannot replace the cells. You cannot reset the BMS. You buy a new battery at $60 to $90, or you buy a new blower. Take your current blower and do this right now. Remove the tube and look into the nozzle opening with a flashlight. You are looking at the impeller. If the blades are uniform, smooth-edged, and symmetrical, you are still in good condition. If you see any blade that looks thinner at the tip, slightly warped, or if the housing around the impeller shows light scoring or rub marks, you are already in the degradation window. That blower has maybe 1 season left. Now shake the housing, not the tube, the main body. With the unit off, grip the housing and give it a firm lateral shake. You should feel no play in the volute. If you hear a rattle or feel any movement between the outer shell and the internal housing, those plastic clips have already loosened. That gap will close the distance between the impeller and the wall under load. This is the point where most people discover they have a 4-year-old $200 unit with a cracked impeller, a loose housing, and a battery that lasts 11 minutes. And the repair parts do not exist. So, what do you actually buy if you want a blower that lasts? The answer splits into 2 categories depending on what you are willing to spend up front. First category, commercial grade gas. Steel BR series backpack blowers use metal or heavy-duty nylon impellers on crankshaft-driven fans rated for commercial duty cycles. Parts availability runs 10 to 15 years after purchase. Carburetors are user serviceable. You can buy an impeller, a carburetor rebuild kit, a fuel line, a primer bulb, every wearing part, at any steel dealer or through the aftermarket. The unit costs between $450 and $700 new depending on the model. If you replace a $200 consumer unit every 4 years, you spend $1,000 over 20 years and own nothing serviceable at the end of it. The steel costs you less per year of actual performance, and you can keep it running indefinitely. Eco backpack models are the same category. Robust electric starter motors, user serviceable components, extensive aftermarket support. Eco and Steel are the 2 names I tell people to look at first when they are done cycling through disposable units. Second category, if you need cordless and you are buying new, do not let the CFM number on the box drive your decision. Look for 2 things on the spec sheet before you pick it up. 1. sustained MPH at the nozzle, not at the motor. 2. Whether the impeller is listed as a separate serviceable part in the parts diagram. If the retailer cannot show you a parts diagram, that unit has no serviceable internals, and you are buying a disposable. The Ego Power Plus 650 CFM, the LB6504, tested as the best real-world balance in independent evaluation. Note that the LB6504, not the LB7654 with the inflated turbo spec. The 650 model delivers more consistent performance across a full battery charge than the higher advertised CFM version. It is not a commercial unit. It will not last 20 years. But the construction is meaningfully better than entry-level, and Ego's battery platform is wider than most, which means your investment in the battery carries further. Makita cordless blowers use dual 18-volt batteries, the same batteries that run their drills, saws, and impact drivers. Battery compatibility across a tool platform is the most underrated durability factor in cordless tools. If your blower battery dies in year 4, you do not buy a new blower, you slide in the same battery from your drill. Makita sells at Home Depot, Walmart, and Amazon. If you are open to pre-owned, target pre-2015 steel or Echo units with documented service records. A used commercial blower with a clean carburetor and an intact impeller will outlast any new consumer unit on that shelf. Verify the impeller is intact using the same flashlight check described above. Confirm parts are still available for that specific model before you buy. Now here's how you read a box at Home Depot without getting burned. Look for both numbers, CFM and sustained MPH at the nozzle. If the box shows only CFM, that manufacturer is hiding the velocity number because it is not competitive. No velocity number means no accountability for how fast that air actually moves. Walk away. Find the parts diagram. Every unit should have a QR code or model number that pulls a diagram on the manufacturer's site. Go to the impeller listing. If it says not serviceable or returns no part number, the impeller is not replaceable as a standalone component. The manufacturer has decided your repair option is a new unit. That is the product telling you what it is. Check the battery warranty terms. Not the unit warranty, the battery warranty. Consumer-grade lithium packs lose capacity on a curve. If the warranty does not specify a capacity floor, meaning if it only covers defects, not degradation, you have no recourse when that battery delivers 12 minutes of runtime at year 3. Look at the impeller housing material. Some units have clear inspection windows or easy access panels. If the housing requires a full disassembly to inspect the impeller, that unit was not designed to be maintained. It was designed to be replaced. The lifecycle math on consumer blowers is straightforward. $200 every 4 years equals $1,000 over 20 years. A steel maintained for 20 years, carburetor rebuilds, impeller replacements, fuel lines, cost you somewhere in a comparable range total, and at the end of those 20 years, you still own a working machine with a part supply chain behind it. The consumer blower does not come with that parts supply chain. The manufacturer's plan ends at the warranty date. After that, the parts either do not exist, cost more than a new unit, or require proprietary tools and software to access. There is also the battery disposal issue that nobody talks about at the register. When a non-serviceable lithium pack fails inside a consumer blower, you cannot replace the cells. You cannot recycle the pack through standard channels in most states, and the manufacturer has no take-back program. You are buying an environmental problem along with the blower. The environmental math on the disposable electric model is not as clean as the packaging suggests. Here's the bottom line. 8 out of 10 of those blowers are designed around a CFM number that does not mean what it sounds like, powered by an impeller made of material that degrades in 1 to 3 seasons, with no serviceable parts and no meaningful aftermarket. They are priced to sell, not to last. The CFM number is marketing. The impeller material is engineering. The parts diagram is the truth. Read the third thing, not the first. You do not have to buy commercial grade to avoid being sold a disposable. You have to buy something with both spec numbers, a replaceable impeller, and a battery platform with breadth. If the manufacturer will not publish both numbers, will not list the impeller as serviceable, and will not tell you how to buy a replacement battery in year 4, they are telling you exactly what they built. We keep turning our own wrenches. We keep reading spec sheets instead of box copy, and we keep buying machines built to be repaired, not replaced. The complete guide to leaf blower specs, impeller inspection, and the exact models worth buying is in the description. If you have had a consumer blower die on you before year 5, and most of you have, drop the brand and model in the comments. We want to see which names keep showing up.